What's up guys, Yxloth here, and we're taking a look at the new patch notes for the upcoming patch, mid-season update, which includes Erlang Shen, the illustrious sage, and various balance changes. As usual, we primarily focusing on the balance changes because that's my segment basically. We're gonna go over the visual stuff real quick, and then go into the theoretical stuff, aside of the new god, which we'll talk about first. So we got Erlang Shen, this is his art, we got his recolor right here. Looks pretty cool in my opinion, and he has that dog, which you can already see there. Yes, you can. And we'll just go right into his kit. So, passive, Howling Celestial Dog. Very simple. He has the small dog next to him who attacks for 15% of his basic attack power, and it triggers all item effects like Frostbound, Kin Size, for like that 15% damage, whatever it is. But slows apparently get applied fully for some reason. And it can crit as well. So, pretty interesting passive. It's not like Kaldir. Thank God it's not like Kaldir, because the dog doesn't have health. It dies with you and it lives with you. And it only attacks once from what I've seen when you stop attacking. Like it hits its last hit and then it walks off as well. So that's pretty decent. Then the first ability is called Spot Weakness. It's basically a steroid which gives him extra physical damage. Plus like up to 85 physical damage, but then also 15% scaling power on each strike, which is not too much. Like, bear in mind, it's not like you should go full power because of this, because it's only 15% per hit in the end. It ignores basic attack movement penalty, so it's a free hasten fatalis, and it lasts for 5 seconds. The whole thing resets attack chains, so you can use it to cancel and go into the quicker part of its chain again, which is the early part. And while on cooldown, basic attacks reduce the cooldown of this ability. So to spam it as often as possible, you want to have attack speed on top of it, so you can use the ability more often. Very simple. Ability 2, Pin. Erlang Shen launches a spear that deals damage and roots enemy in the center and cripples them as well. For up to 1.7 seconds, and it has decent damage. It has 265 damage and 45% scaling. Not that much scaling compared to like Assassins, but it's pretty good overall in my opinion. And the interesting thing about it is that it has 12 seconds cooldown, which is not too long, so it can be like a main damaging ability. And additionally, it does have a very slow, very quick travel time. The thing flies there and it's there. It's like much quicker than Capri's Root in my opinion, though, from what I've seen, what it looks like on PTS right now, or in the videos where they showed it. So that's gonna have a major impact because it's gonna be a very easy CC. Ability 3 is called 72 Transformations. Erlang Shen transforms into a mink or turtle and charges forward, and then it has additional different effects. The ability looks friggin' hilarious. I don't know. I had to laugh real hard when I saw it for the first time. You might too. Mink has higher damage, goes up to 330 and has 85% scaling, so that's pretty damn good. And then it stops at the guard and doesn't actually do anything to the guard, but gives you bonus attack speed, which means if you use your 1 first and then your 72 transformations, you will get your 1 quicker again because you have increased attack speed, which decreases the cooldown with the hits. And the turtle, though, does something quite different. It knocks up enemies, deals less damage. It is really, really fast, though, even though it's a turtle. And it has a shield, a health shield, after you hit the enemies with it, I think. I'm not sure. It might actually be on the moment you use it. Either way, yeah, it sounds like that. Either way, it's going to be more like a CC-focused thing. And then we have the ultimate, 9 turns Blessing. Erlang Shen taunts nearby enemy guards, gaining damage mitigation up to 15%, which is decent, for the next 4 seconds. Afterwards, Erlang Shen, like if he's still alive, is healed for a flat amount, which is up to 510, plus 20% of his maximum health. So that is a lot of healing. 85 seconds cooldown is relatively long, but it's a taunt. Taunts are really, really good. Taunts are really good setup. You've seen it on Raging, you've seen it on Athena. Taunts are one of the best CCs in the game. Not the best, but one of the best. Knockup is still better, but whatever. And if you build them a little bit tanky, I'm thinking like maybe Breastplate of Valor, Stonecutting Sword, because taunts are like the risk from taunt is dying to a physical character, right? if a mage melees you at that time, whatever. But if a physical character attacks you in your taunt, that could hurt. So you want some physical damage reduction. So you get Breastplate of Valor, Stone Cutting Sword, have that decent power, and the rest of the build can mainly be like attack speed. And you have relatively high damage with this. You will tank through it and you will heal up afterwards. And that's pretty damn crazy. So yeah, interesting kit overall. Very simple kit, very straightforward. You have 2 CCs or 3 CCs if played right. So he has a lot of utility. High damage character, has an AoE swing in its chain. Interesting design. I like it with a dog as well. And overall, simple to learn. I think I like that a lot. It's just a very basic character that punches people in the face. And I think that's good. I think it's fun. Moving on to the skins. Rockabilly Bellona is the first one of the Summer Odyssey, which we get into later. Very rockabilly style, even in the abilities and stuff. Really cool in my opinion, I like it. Well, it's yet another Bellona skin, but it's a really cool one. Then we have Capri, which is just amazing. It looks really, really good in-game. One of the few guards where I'd say the guard card matches the in-game look, which is just amazing. A really funny voice pack. Rastafarian, I thought he was going to be French, but really cool ability animations with like water and stuff, and his face on the ult and water bubbles and all that, splashes. It's so cool. One of my favorite skins as of now. Then we have Fenrir Ironmore, tier 2. Looks a little too spiky in game in my opinion. Not as cool as Ragnarok Fenrir, but still a pretty cool skin for a tier 2. So can't complain. Skadi Frostbound, also a tier 2. Not the biggest changes there, but I really like it. I think it's a cool tier 2. It looks good. It looks good. Simple as that. Erlang Shen, we had that one. And Thor gets an updated card for his heavy metal skin. While the card does look pretty amazing now, but the skin just kind of sucks because it's really outdated. But it's a cool skin anyways, and I like the card. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Scrolling down. We got an icon, which is also special Chef's Special Capri, which I really like. And you got achievements for Odin, Hercules, Emus, and Carp. And some of Smite. Here we go. We've seen some other things teased. We've got like, apparently we got the loading frame. We got the F. Announcer pack, finally. And some more stuff which we don't really know about. On Bellona's new skin, you can actually see tattoos that are apparently teases to the other skins in the Summer Smite. So that's pretty cool. We have an item store layout for starter items, similar to relics and consumables. So yeah, and auto buy is easier to see for DJ Pern. And now we're getting into the balance changes and stuff. It's crazy. Relic number 1, Shield of the Underworld. Just kidding, it's called Thorns now. I don't like it. I like Shield of the Underworld. I loved Shield of the Underworld for what it did, for the fact that it could prevent lifesteal, and it had a very good reflect and all that. Thorns has 40% reflect before mitigation, so that's the same for 5 seconds. Reflects it back to the owner as magical damage, but it doesn't have the anti-heal, and it has 120 seconds cooldown still, so Thorns was hardly ever picked up in Conquest to begin with, and I'm thinking Conquest when I think in items, and so Shield of the Underworld was hardly ever picked up, and Thorns will be picked up even less because you don't have the anti-heal on it, so yeah. There's another item that's much better against Hunters now, so we'll get into that. Relic Phantom. Phantom basically takes over Spectral Armor. You can now pass through walls and whatever for 5 seconds, and you also get the basic attack movement penalty removed for the duration, so you can go free hasten for tiles for 5 seconds. Long cooldown though, 140 seconds. Annoying to some like Bracken and Thor and Odin. But like I said, long cooldown, so we'll have to see how it actually develops. Blink. Time out of combat before Blink can be used. Reduced from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So yeah, that's gonna be back to the old. It's gonna be much better. Don't underestimate that. 3 seconds is very, very easy to achieve, and it will get you out quite often, or get you in when there's like minions attacking you in between, stuff like that. That's good. It's really strong for Blink. Don't know if that needed that buff, but well, there it is. Meanwhile, Curse gets a nerf. 65 healing reduction before, now 50%. Means it's better for healers, worse for the rest. Better for Tyr as well, worse for the rest. Don't think this was needed. Well, this might actually bring healers back a little bit, but we get into that later because they get other buffs on top of that. Frenzy also applies a 20% attack speed increase for the duration. So that's going to be scary. Frenzy, now a very good early aggression item with all the buffs it gives at the same time. Or maybe structure push or whatever you want to use it for. But overall, pretty scary. Pretty scary. I think Frenzy will do well. It's going to be an unexpected pickup mostly, but when it happens, it hurts. Scout. I don't understand this change. Revealing enemy wards with Scout causes you to gain 25 gold per ward revealed. So, why? Like, if you reveal a ward and you destroy it, you already get gold. Now you get some extra gold for revealing it, but Scout in itself still doesn't have a purpose. I could see it getting picked up in like heavily gold efficient builds, like maybe just, watches into Talaria, into Scout, or like with Scout on Fafnir, just to get like all the gold. But I don't see like how it would be played in a regular match and like would replace the other actives that we have. Sprint duration reduced from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Cooldown increased by 10 seconds. It's still gonna get picked up. Still a good active for supports at least. So it's gonna be a little less popular with the new Ghost Walk item, but still good. Thunder though. Thunder protection reduction increased from 25% to 30%. Still does damage. And applies a 30% attack speed reduction to the Thunder target. This is what I think will be picked up more often than Shield of the Underworld, what Thorns now. Because this is much better against Hunters. And Thorns was primarily against Hunters. Thorns is maybe good on Nemesis with a shield and like counter a Kraken fully and just blow people up with their own damage. But most other characters that try to counter Hunters will just go Thunder. And that will hurt a lot. And in duel, this item will be crazy. I know I usually don't talk about duel, but this is going to be extremely crazy in duel. Teleport gets a channel duration increase up to 4 seconds from 3 seconds, which feels very, very long, and I don't think it was needed, because it never felt OP. It was just needed in the soul lane, but you didn't see 3 people pick up teleport because it was so OP, and now it's slowed down for no reason. It slows down the game. I don't like that. That's the change I just don't understand. Are you ready for the big boy change? Because this is it. Wrath! Wrath is coming back. Wrath is now stunning enemies. It's Fist of the Gods from Season 1, if you remember that. It has a much longer cooldown, 90 seconds now. Increased damage to jungle bosses. So, it's basically Hawk and Fist of the Gods in one items, to some extent. And you will see it on junglers. You will see it on junglers a lot, because it gives you early clear, and it gives you that 1 second stun that junglers want so badly, because it means that they have to depend less on sticking power. This is going to be really good on Nemesis, on Kali, on Bakasura even, because 1 second stun while you're eating up his charged up basics is going to hurt a lot. Just everything about this item is gonna indicate that we'll see it back in the jungle. I can hardly imagine any junglers that cannot pick it up, and some will benefit less, that like those who have like a lot of build and CC, but Wrath is back, 100% sure, just because that stun was so scary. Now it maintains utility throughout the whole game. If you stun multiple guards around you, that's always going to be good late game. CC is always good, so we might see this in multiple lanes again, who knows? Support and jungle, I don't know, maybe, but at least in jungle it's gonna be back. New item! That thing that's completely, like, what? Going overboard, and it's completely crazy, because it's called Ritual Dagger, and it's apparently a new winged blade thingy-ish, but, alright, we check this out. 1,850 gold, 200 health, 10% cooldown reduction, 20% attack speed, 10% movement speed, and whenever you use the relic's effect is increased by 50%. Why would you not want to buy that? Like, any god that has attack speed benefits from this so much. Any jungler is gonna pick this up. It's cheap. It has attack speed. It has a cooldown reduction. It has health. Why? What you? I don't even know if this... Okay, check this out. If this actually increases the duration of every relic, then it's going to increase the duration of Wrath, which means it's going to have a 1.5 second stun because of this item. So I would pick this up before Boots, maybe even. I don't know yet, but we'll see. We'll see about that, because Boots still has more movement speed. But this item is crazy, man. This is... what? It's so insane. The Ritual Dagger, one of the biggest items in this patch. For real, 100%. Moving on to Emperor's Armor. This is another one of those big items. New item, 2,200 gold, so not very expensive. Standard defense item, really. 250 health, 30 physical protection. So this item is good because it has effective health protection mix. Not the highest stats, but good. But what sells this item is the aura. The aura means that enemy structures within 55 units have their attack speed decreased by 30%. So you can aggress onto a tower. Easy. At the same time, allied structures within 55 units have their attack speed increased by 30%. Did I say increase before? I meant decrease for them if I did. So, enemy towers attack you less, your towers attack enemies more in one item. If both players get this, it nullifies the effect. If two players on your team get it, it doesn't stack, it just once. But it's pretty damn crazy. Like this item will probably be picked up a lot, just, you know, to tank towers down. At least in mid-elo and stuff. I don't know how much we'll see it at high-elo, but I think we'll see it there as well. Because you can easily deny someone a tower push with that. Put it on his solo laner, and if somebody tries to split push, he just teleports there, which takes a little longer, to be fair. But then he's got this tower who's just shooting down all the minions and the enemy if he comes in. So it's going to be a lot more scary. I think this will be picked up on solos, maybe even on supports, and maybe even on junglers. So yeah, good shit. Adventurous Blade, removed crowd control reduction. Instead, we get the 10% movement speed right away. 10% movement speed on a tier 2 that's not very expensive is very, very solid, and means this is going to get picked up even more. For sure. Especially when, you know, it builds into that new item. Ancile. Ancile is another one of those crazy items. This one is crazy. Magical and protections increased by 20, but that's not what makes this item. What makes this item is whenever you take magical damage from an enemy ability, you unleash a shockwave that silences all enemies within a range of 20 units for 1 second. This effect cannot trigger more than once every 60 seconds. So this is a mini Chark ult in an item every 60 seconds. The point is that if a mage hits you from range, like this has counterplay, if he hits you from range, you're fucked. Because you silence everyone around you and he's too far away. He's on like whatever, 70 units. But if you are the one aggressing first, then he has to usually use a spell to get out unless he uses his escape and the escape doesn't deal damage. But more often than not, he'll try and use some spell to lock you down because he doesn't realize you have Ancile yet. You can still sell it at some point. Ao Kuang has to dumpster his kid onto you. What is he gonna do? He silenced for a second and you just shut him down before he can even escape. Scylla, Nox, all these guards where you like, when you get the opportunity to jump them and they cannot get out, they will get silenced. I think this could even silence people like guards out of abilities. Like, imagine a Nox dashing through you to get away. Like, you block her from behind, she tries to dash through you and damages you and gets silenced in that very moment. Meaning, I think that her dash gets cancelled. Because if you dash into Nox silence, your dash also gets cancelled. Silence usually cancels dash. Cancels the ability in the middle of it. So that's going to be pretty damn crazy. Alright. And with that, we're moving on to Executioner, and this is the what? No, okay, this is Bancroft's Talent. This is still glitchy. Bancroft's Talent allows players who are at low health to be a major threat, but players needed to be in extreme danger to feel full benefits. Making the power buff max out earlier lets the players use the risk-reward mechanics of this item more effectively. The 100 power from the passive will now be gained at 25% HP, up from 100%, from 0% HP. So that's good, so low health, you get more power. Not sure what it means about the higher health stages, like if you already have more when you have more health then as well, but definitely a good idea. And now for the biggest change. And I'm not complaining about this, and even if I just made a build for this, don't worry, the sloth's not dead. we'll find a way to make it work now, especially with some other item changes. I'm pretty sure it will still work in a different way. No more golden bow. Golden bow and throwing dagger are removed from the game. Sadly, from the game completely. I would have liked to see this item as a melee only item. But I understand the decision to remove it completely. Cleave on ranged was not good. This is fine. If you want your cleave, get fucking Odin bow. Done. But yeah, this is gonna change a lot for hunters. This patch overall nerfs hunters mostly, so yeah. Mages and hunters will struggle a little bit with this patch. Assassins will probably reign supreme for a while, and I'm not complaining. Heartseeker. Heartseeker gets a buff. Hitting an enemy with a basic attack helps you gain focus, increasing attack speed by 3% per stack, max 5 stacks. At 5 stacks, your next ability cast consumes the stacks and provides additional 40 physical power for 3 seconds. That's the point. Before it was just for one ability, now it's for 3 seconds. And this is good for a lot of hunters, and I think this gives Heartseeker a lot more viability overall, because in a direct boxing matchup, those 40 powers are gonna matter. 40 powers, nothing to joke about. Especially good for Erlang Shen as well now. He benefits from that attack speed as well as the physical power for his abilities. So, yeah, he likes that shit. But a very good item overall now, I think. And I think we'll see it a lot more with this buff. Runeforged Hammer. So this is one I found weird. Enemies who are within 20 units of you are slowed and take 10% more damage from all sources. That's so weird. So you walk up to an enemy and you don't even need to hit them, and they're slowed by Frostbound, basically. Only this is Runeforged now. It's a weak slow. It's a 10% slow, but it's a whole adventurous blade that they take away from you. And or no, wait. No, sorry. Oh, I just got it. Enemies that are close to you and are slowed take 10% more damage from all sources. My bad. So you're tied with Frostbound Hammer and it's good. I guess. More or less. The problem is, I think it's probably still not gonna be good. 10% more damage. That is so situational because you need to slow the enemy first. Like, how many gods can afford to build Frostbound and Runeforged in one build? I don't think that will have much efficiency. You have to have a god that already has slows in the build, and then utilize it. I think Shark could work with it as a team fight thing. Like, you know, everyone around Shark takes more damage, and he drops the X down and slows them all. But they also still have to be close to you, so that doesn't really work. Like, you have to be in the middle of the battle, and you proc Runeforged Hammer with your slow from Shark's slow, and then you deal more damage. Maybe. Or like Sun Wukong. Maybe. But it's very situational. I don't think it's worth it. We'll see. But it doesn't sound too great on paper yet. Genji's guard gets a visual update. Heck yeah. Hail Genji. Spectral Armor. They didn't want the Ghost Walking on there more, as it's obviously on the active now. Instead, when you activate a relic, your cooldowns are reduced by 3 seconds. This effect can only occur once every 30 seconds. Feels a little too lackluster to me, I gotta say, compared to other item effects. But I can see this being abused. For example, on Fenrir, if you get Spectral Armor and Genji's Guard and cooldown reduction, and you just dumpster your kit on an enemy twice, basically, that could be interesting. So we'll see. It could be cool. AMC gets a small buff. Basics get a little, well, adjustment to the middle of the attack line, and Honey gets a buff on the early stages. It's just a little more dot damage. AMC stays AMC, nothing major here. Anubis, a base movement speed increased from 350 to 360. Also, Mummify, reduced cooldown from up to 14 seconds to up to 12 seconds. So 2 seconds on each rank. Death Gaze, increased radius. And this is the big one, because it's like a double laser now. And it's just wider. The line is wider, that's all that changes. But I think it's going to be a lot harder to juke in between the ticks of the damage, which was very easy as an assassin before. You just juke around them with your movement speed and be like, yeah, whatever. Nice damage goobers. But now I think that's going to be hard, because it's going to be a lot easier to aim. Does it change him overall? Nah, he's still immobile, he's still a glass cannon, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that he has quicker CC now, and he's faster, and he's got a more reliable death gaze might bring it up a little bit. I mean, Zeus is immobile and he's scary, right? So I think we'd see a little more of good old Goobies. And if not, we still have that new god who has a mini Goobies. So that's cool. Ao Kuang. As if he wasn't nerfed enough by the new items, he gets another nerf. Wild Storm, basic damage decreased by 10 on the first rank down to 30 on the last rank. So max damage now 260. I think Ao Kuang with this nerf and Ancile is actually very balanced. I think he's actually friggin' mid-tier now. I don't believe it yet myself, but I think this changes a lot about how he plays and how the potential to burst as soon as people understand that you need to buy Ancile. But as soon as they do, I think this is gonna be huge. He's obviously gonna try and burst the backline. It's not gonna be bad at it, but he's got decent lockdown potential now. So that's something. Arachne's web is so weird that I can hardly explain it. Arachne's web is now a line ability, so she shoots out the line of the web and it stops at the max range where you place it, or at every enemy in between, any minion, any wall, whatever. So this is going to change a lot about Arachne's playstyle, because you're not going to just put it behind minions anymore. You can't do that because it will get blocked by the minions. At the same time, your ganks are going to be much better because you shoot it out and you have more movement speed towards the enemy, and it's easier to hit the enemy because they can't dodge it as easy because it's the line coming towards them. So it's a completely different ability, really. The ability doesn't deal damage, by the way. It just flies out. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting, and I want to see where this goes. I really want to see where this goes, because it gives you even more escape potential as well. If the trail on the ground, gets out quite quickly. What I am actually concerned about with this one is not a balance change, but the fact that the spiders fly out now. And they stay on the web and crawl around there. And if somebody has arachnophobia, this is gonna fuck them up. Because it's kinda, gross for them. And I still regret that I don't have the electronic version now. The metal version, because it would look really, really cool with that. But yeah, well, anyways. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Aphrodite. New passive. Finally. A change for Aphro. The mana regeneration is moved to Kiss. And, excuse me. And Aphro now gains 4 physical protection and 4 magic protection for each friendly and enemy god within 70 units of her. 70 units is not that far, but also not that close. So in a team fight, you can realistically get at least 20 defensive. I would say 20 defenses each, with a few allies around you and a few enemies in the area. Also, what I nearly forgot, this is a ward, basically. A bad ward, but it's a ward, because it shows you when an enemy is nearby, because your passive is gonna go up. If you actually pay attention to the passive, you will see, okay, passive is going up now, okay, there must be someone somewhere around. And if it's not an ally, you know an enemy's coming, so that's pretty good. I think this is gonna make Aphro more viable in combination with the curse changes. Is she gonna be the best at what she does now? Definitely not. We got others for that. But overall, it's gonna make her better. And I think we could see her returning maybe into solo. Not as much into support, I feel, personally. Even if it says so here. But maybe even middle. Just, because she's not that prone to ganks, and she knows when someone's ganking. But we'll see. Chang'e gets a little buff on the healing. Scaling of the healing of Moonflower Dance increased by 10%. Nothing crazy, but once again, weakening curse is nerfed, same as for Aphro. This helps her a lot, so might see her coming back a little bit. Also, we'll see some health changes, and with health coming back, Chang'e is naturally coming back a little bit because she has that anti-heal. Fafnir gets a lot of buffs. Stun increased from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. All his abilities now start ticking at 0 instead of 1 second in dragon form, so the dot ticks earlier. And dragon breath damage increased from 20 on first rank, from 10 on first rank to 20 on first rank, and then going up to 40 instead of 30, so 10 more. So yeah, he's strong, he's better, he's good. I don't think he was that underpowered. I think people just haven't learned to use the steroid yet. And now he's gonna be really good. Still a bad frontlining tank. Still more like Capri, but as such, I think it will be good. Guan Yu, though, is gonna be completely all over the place, crazy, will not let you fall. Look at my horse. I'm actually drinking before that because it's gonna be so much. So Guan Yu now has a passive that has 30 stacks instead of 20. And now, each time he deals damage or receives damage, he gets a stack. The stack also go up with like Tallow Assault, so every tick of Tallow Assault stacks it up, which means he can stack up really quick. Stacks are gained from everyone, minis or gods. And at max stacks, the abilities he has will have a boosted effect. So, previously this was only on Conviction and he was a heal spammer and whatever, you know. You can use it on Conviction still. You have to have more stacks, right? You have to have 30 stacks now. It still goes up to 340. I think that's the old value as well, if I recall correctly. Heal spamming is going to be a little harder because you need more stacks for that. At the same time, all his other abilities are going to be very different. Warrior's Will, slow, increased from 30 to 60 when the passive is fully stacked. 60% slow is pretty damn crazy. It's a really hard slow. Tallow Assault, projection skill increased from up to 10 to up to 15. That is a scary amount of shred, especially early on. And he gets that right away, right? You get that. You built Tallow Assault. You leveled that early, unless you want the heals. And then you have Cavalry Charge. Cavalry Charge increased slow from 20 to 40 and increased the stun from 1 to 2. So, bam. That's crazy. That's like ridiculous. So yeah, wow. I think Guan Yu will change his role a little bit. We'll see him more in different places. We'll see him in support maybe. We'll see him in jungle maybe. I could see this kid working well in jungle. His ganks are gonna be strong as hell. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy stuff. All right, Hell gets some buffs. She gets quick stance. Can't even pronounce that. Stance charges. So 3 seconds instead of 5 seconds, which is pretty good. Gives her makes it easier to utilize the stance attunement, which is good. Hinder slow increased up to 40%. Inspire scaling increased. Isn't that the wrong icon for Inspire, by the way? Whatever. Movement speed buff increased to 25% at all ranks. Less susceptible to ganks. Better heal. Better slow. Quicker stance swapping. Hell is gonna be a lot better, especially with Curse nerfed. I feel like out of all the healers, she's taking the cake here. Probably at least balanced, if not better even. I could see her going crazy again as soon as somebody finds out how to abuse that stuff. Nezha basically gets bonus stuff, additionally to what he already has. So now his passive, additionally to how it worked, now his Flaming Spear still heals for 15%, right, of the maximum HP, and depending on how many stacks, it goes up. And now his passive stays up. It's kind of weird to explain, but whatever. So, with every basic attack and ability hit, he gains stacks for his passive, still up to 20. Double stacks for critical hits. And each stack provides him with 0.5% crit chance, so up to 10% crit chance. I think you still have the normal crit chance on his Flaming Spear anyways, if you use that, the increase. And stacks are lost upon being out of combat. So what you want to do is you want to stay in combat. And upon leaving combat for 5 seconds. So meaning you had the combat timer, which runs out after 5 or 6 seconds. And then you have an additional 5 seconds. You have like 11 seconds. So what you want to do is you want to basically rush from camp to camp, from lane to lane. And just keep that passive up by hammering in on your target. So it's gonna be very interesting, very, very interesting. And given that the healing still stacks with stacks, you want to go to the next camp, smash it down, and heal yourself up again in between, and so on and so on. and just make sure that you don't run out of mana, basically. So you want a lot of movement speed, I feel. I don't know how you're going to do that. Maybe with that new, what is it called? That, not Winged Blade, but whatever that new item is, which is completely broken. And, you know, just use blue pots and then use Flaming Spear all the time. So it's not a nerf, it's a buff. And it's going to be an interesting one, for sure. Odin is crazy. Odin is ridiculous. Odin, I don't fucking know what that is. So his old passive is move to Ring of Spears. 5 attack power for each god that dies inside the ring. I think it's still max of 10 stacks. But his new passive, whenever any god dies on the battleground, any god, Odin gets 10% movement speed and 10% power for 10 seconds. This buff can stack up to 5 times. Alright, cool. 2 of your allies die, 3 of the enemies die. You now have a 50% movement speed buff and a 50% power buff. 50% movement speed buff is ridiculous, especially on top of your boots and stuff. And 50% power buff is even more ridiculous, especially when you consider that he gets extra attack power from Ring of Spears if he gets kills in there. So get some kills early, get Trends, get Titan's Bane, get friggin', I don't know, get some movement speed and power with Stone Cutting Sword, but I don't even care. There's plenty of options, just anything to get your power up. And you're gonna be much more late game. You're gonna have so much ability damage late game that Odin is not gonna fall off in the same way as long as somebody dies. Which is really weird. It's gonna be interesting to see people abuse that mechanic, but I have a feeling it's gonna be freaking strong, if not OP. So, heck yeah. Raijin loses his magical protection. This is bullshit. He loses his magical protection scaling that he had. Good. Never needed it. Now he's a burst mage like he was from the beginning. Ratatoskr, health points per level reduced slightly. Akon Blast damage reduced. Sylvanus. So Ratatoskr nerfs, yeah, fine. Bring him down a little bit. Cool. Not too impactful. I think items will be a much bigger thing in this patch. And with Fist of the Gods, he will have problems anyways. I still call it Fist of the Gods now. Stunts, anyways. Sylvanus, though. Sylvanus. The seeds now grow in 5 seconds instead of 12. And they give 20 MP5 at all ranks. If you have a mana-hungry hunter like Ullr, this is your god. This is so good. You throw it down, mana's there, let's go. Your mid laner gets one as well because it's 20 friggin' MP5 for them early on. Glorious. Just couldn't be any better. Vamana. Just some tooltip fixes. Last but not least, Vulcan. I was really scared about this. It's not as crazy as it was originally planned to be. This version I'm fine with, but it's still really strong. So, Master Craftsman, whenever Vulcan successfully hits an enemy god with an ability, he gains 15 MP5 and 15% movement speed for 5 seconds. Remember, only gods. It counts for his turrets as well. So if his turrets hit someone, that counts. That counts as an ability. But only gods. So you can't just leave a turret in mid lane and stack it on minions. You need gods for it. But I think it's interesting. It pushes an aggressive playstyle that gives you mana back as well. Maybe in combination with Soulstone, allows you to play a little more unsafe and get out. So yeah, that's pretty cool overall. We'll see how he does. I think Vulcan will do very well now. I'm just like the craziest one of those all is probably Odin. Regarding what the skins will cost, because this question is going to come up, we don't know yet. We don't know on PTS. We'll know afterwards, sadly. As we know that 2 are in the summer event, I assume something between 400 and 600 gems. Also, the patch will be live next Tuesday, and the PTS will be going up tonight. Apparently, it's already up right now. So with that, I conclude these patch notes, which are completely crazy, and everything is different, and you have to relearn this whole game, more or less. Thank you guys for watching. Duke Sloth, out.